So in this video, we're going to cover where we're going to put certain information such as TPR entries, anesthetic monitoring, blood glucose curves, iStat results, all those things that maybe don't necessarily belong in the medical condition record, but they definitely need to be recorded and in the patient's account somewhere. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a place to put them. It's completely customizable to your specific needs. You can do this however you want. Mine is just an example of what you can do with it. So feel free to play with it on your own and definitely make it kind of your own thing. So the one that I have pulled up here is actually a TPR field that we would use for rounds in the morning, midday, evening, it doesn't matter. So a couple things. The first thing that you'll see here is that we actually have a code called TPR that comes up with the description TPR. You don't have to do this. It's definitely easier to be able to find those. You can make these forms, which are called more stuff forms. You can put them on any treatment code. It doesn't matter. This is just one example. So if you already have maybe a hospitalization code that you want to put your TPRs on, that's totally fine. So what you just need to do is you just need to decide which code or which treatment item that you want to link these forms to, and then simply go into your treatment area up here. So click on your treatment button up here in the top toolbar, and you should come to this little window after you've typed in obviously what code you're going to use. If you want to create a TPR code, hopefully you already know how to do that. So anyways, but if you've got one already made, just type it in and then double click on it and it should bring up this little window. So once you get to this point, we're going to come here to this more stuff option and we're going to click on that. So one thing you might notice is that I'm not actually using AVImark in real time. These are actually snapshots. So you might notice that's a little bit of something different than what I've used previously. But it should still work all the same. So it should bring up this window. Now, this window's already got stuff in it because I've already played with this. However, yours should be blank, and it should say first generation up here. So one of the first things that we want to do, that I like to do, and that you might have noticed with that TPR, is that the very first thing that it says is user up top, and it had my name in there. So that way we know which technician is the one that is putting this information in. And the way that we're going to do that is if this is a first generation, you haven't done anything with it before, we're going to right click and hit new. Or if you've already got stuff in it like I do here, it's going to tell you that you can't add anything, that you're going to have to create a new generation. And what this does is it's kind of like it takes a copy of every time that you get in and out of this. The original is going to stay there, and then it's going to basically overlay a new copy of the stuff that you're going to create. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So we have the first generation, but we're going to overlay this first generation with the second generation. I know it sounds confusing, but it's really not. So if it's already blank, just right click anywhere in this box and hit new. Otherwise, if you've already got stuff in here like I do, you're going to have to create a new generation, which you just go up to the generation button and click new, and we'll get you to the next generation, and then you can right click in here and click new. Okay, so it's going to bring up this additional data field here, and this is where you just basically start making your entries. So you can see over here I have my name as technician, and under type, now there's going to be a dozen of these different types, and they all can do different things. And let's see if I can show you a couple different examples of types here. So type, for the technician, my type is user. For time, which is going to automatically enter the time for you if you want, then that type is going to be time. Phrase is just how it sounds. It's just a bar where you can type in sentences if you'd like. Decimal is if you're entering in numbers. So let's go back to this one real quick. So you're going to choose the type that you want. So hopefully if you're starting from the beginning, you could put in name. You can make your staff type in their name, however you want to do it. Default. Now this is going to be something that's automatically going to pop up under your TPR field. Now I will show you that here in just a moment. So if you want a default, you can definitely put that in. Defaults are good for something if you have a lot of normal values. So for instance, let's see, attitude, you can put for the default, we use BAR a lot, bright, alert, responsive. You could type it out, you could use the acronym, and then that's going to automatically generate every time you open up a new TPR form, just because that's such a commonly used term for your patient's attitude. Now, if you don't want your staff member getting in the habit of that and you want them to make sure that they go through and they check every little thing, then just leave the default blank and hit done. So for instance, in this one I added heart rate, and I have it listed as a decimal because it's a number. One of the other options that you can do is you can do check boxes, which you can either have them checked or unchecked, and that would just another option that they have on there. For instance, walked outside, did they get walked? Yes. Did they not get walked? Just some more options. So as you go through and you customize this is going to be kind of what it's going to look like. So for instance, under that description name I wrote technician, and since I'm currently logged into AVImark, it's going to automatically populate my initials and my name under that user. When I chose time, now if you pick time for one of the description boxes, then it gives you two options. It gives you the option to just manually type in the time, or it will put in the time that your computer is currently set at. So I have it automatically populate for me. Temperature can be a decimal, since we use a lot of 100.1s, 100.2s. Attitude, now see, that's something that I wrote in there that is automatically defaulting for me. You'll also see that it has a drop-down box where I can add in other defaults. I could have depressed, I could have, DOA, whatever you want. Hopefully that's not the case. Heart rate, respiration rate, you see those shorter little boxes, those are decimal boxes. Walk, so I left that as a phrase so that people can tell us how the dog walked. You could enter something in such as had a hard time standing, but once up, patient was very mobile. Or, in some cases, we just write, yes, dog went outside, dog got walked. Bowel movement, urine, vomit, medications, and then food and water. So you can add all that in. Notes. So the notes box is actually going to come under, that type is going to say text. So, if you want that note box in there for any other thing that maybe didn't get covered up here, or maybe if you just wanted to say, patient's a little happier today, or patient preferred their food that mom brought from home. It doesn't matter. These are just options. Like I said, this is completely customizable. Feel free to play with this. Make it as big or as little, or, as much of your hospital as you need it to be. And hopefully that will help you. So then just remember that all you need to do is click on that code that we either created or linked this to, and at any point you just come over here and you click more stuff. Now it'll either generate a new one for you if it has not already been done, or it'll pull up the one that was already previously entered. So just be aware, if you're taking TPRs 2 to 3 times a day, you do have to generate a new code or a new charge for every time you want to enter that TPR. So if you're using a hospitalization code that has a charge on it, obviously you don't want to charge them hospitalization 3 times a day if that's not normally how you do it. So you might want to be able to enter in a code just specifically for this TPR. So this video is just going to cover TPR. Our anesthetic monitoring video is going to be a separate video if you want to watch that one. It's a little bit more involved. We're kind of going to be stacking forms on top of each other to create the outcome that we need for that. So hopefully this helped you. By all means, definitely email me or comment if you have any questions, and I will try and answer them as best as I can. Good luck!